Again with episode 28, playing a little bit of the new Mass Effect Andromeda, available now for your PS4, Xbox One, and I do believe the PC version as well. But who would want to buy that? Anyway, here's my character. I named him Chris Ryder. Ryder is your actual last name. And I named him Chris because my character looks a little bit like Chris Helmsworth. Completely unintentional. Anyway, I got a couple things I want to say about my thoughts so far in the game. There has been some issues about animation and stuff like that. Have I seen some of that? Actually, yes. Let me demonstrate a little bit of it for you. When you're running, and then you kind of shift, like your legs just went all wonky and shifty if you move back and forth real fast. It's just silly looking because it's just absolutely hilarious. Look at this guy. Oh, that's so funny. Hi, Pamela. And but that's really just a byproduct of the motion capture. Otherwise, the running is fine. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's really nothing. Really, it's just people just make such a big deal about nothing. First of all, I'd also like to say that the creative player, I have some people who told me that was really up to snuff, especially compared to other from, like, let's say Dragon Age Inquisitions, another EA BioWare game, and maybe even the original Mass Effect. I didn't think it was bad, to be perfectly frank with you. There isn't that many hairstyles, about 10. And there's a lot of color options though, and there's a lot of different things and scars, and so you can, and there's sliders for nose and mouth and all that stuff. That's just a staple for most games. To be perfectly frank with you, it's really not that bad. I would have liked to seen a little bit more. Like, I'd like to seen them use Inquisitions where you had the more, instead of a slider, you have more of a face morphing thing. Other than that, it's really not that bad. Another thing I will admit, that I also really, really dug was the beginning of this game is just phenomenal. The music is superb, really sets the tone. I was really, like, excited about landing on the planet, and then they did this cool over-the-shoulder moment in the shuttle, and you're going through the atmosphere, and you see this world, and and you can still look around. It just was a really cool. Not even a real-time scene, and you can move your character and just, from his head and upper body, and you're looking out, and it almost reminded you of like that opening shot where they go into the planet in the movie Prometheus, and it's just they go through the turbulence and they see this world. It kind of reminded me of that. I thought that was really cool because the game really makes you excited about exploring this world, where even the original Mass Effect, which allowed you to visit other worlds, and it was cool to land on some of them and whatnot if you just wanted to explore throughout the Mass Effect trilogy. I never felt all that excited to go down on those worlds because I knew there wasn't much to do on them, and this game is much more focused on exploration than anything else. The UI is a little weird. If you go to your inventory, the way it's set up, it is a little strange. Like if I go to assault rifle, you can go to your assault rifle, for example. You can view the details of it, view the statistics, rotate it and whatnot, which is kind of nice, and compare stuff as well. I haven't quite, but I also have a lot of mods. These mods here, which it just shows you the list. I'm not really sure exactly how these work because there's really no option to install them at the moment. I don't know if it's an early on thing, and it's got a weird way of kind of doing it. I'm not really quite sure what the situation was there. Of course, like, you also have your different skills, your squad skills. I did what I always do with the squad. You hit the auto level up, let the computer do it because they do the best job of doing that. And graphically, the planets and the game itself look amazing. It's an amazing looking game, and there's been a lot of flack given to this game here that deals with that is all is it's just a lot of flack has been given. I mean, the sheen and the floors here are beautifully done, reflective, but also is kind of smudged out like metal. Everything looks exactly how it should look. I'm on the Nexus, which is basically this game's version of a slightly smaller Citadel, and that's all story kind of based anyway, and which is fine. And one of the things that I want to point out, a couple things to some people who were very negative about this game because they associate everything with BioWare. First of all, BioWare is not BioWare, gamers, okay, out there. They're not BioWare anymore. It's Electronic Arts / BioWare. EA bought BioWare out. None of the writers or designers from Mass Effect 1 before EA bought them out, or from the original Dragon Age, or from the original KOTOR and Ice Republic or Jade Empire had anything to do with Mass Effect Andromeda. Actually, very few people that worked on the actual original trilogy has anything to do whatsoever with hey, little Roombas going around on the floor scrubbing, that's funny, has anything to do with this game. But EA BioWare is their division of company of EA that makes their role-play games, right? That's it. This is not BioWare, people. This is not those amazing people that worked on Dragon Age Origins and KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, the first game all those years ago, Jade Empire, a criminally underplayed game. It's not those people. It's just not. These are different writers, different designers. These are people who work for Electronic Arts. Electronic Arts made this game. End of story. Just because they attached the BioWare name to it, they own that division. This is not made at a BioWare studio. It's made at Electronic Arts studio. So people need to stop on these negative, when they show these negativity about the game and they keep saying, BioWare did this and BioWare did that and why did they do this and that? They didn't do it. It was Electronic Arts, you numbskulls. And you should already know EA put their damn name on the game like they do everything else. And people still believe that, oh, well, EA is, it's EA. They're all about dollars and cents. They could care less about what we think. They want you to buy their $100 version of the game with these stupid little bullshit pre-orders and whatnot that they do. All the crap that they do. So stop blaming BioWare. Another thing is, this uses a Frostbite engine. Same engine that runs DICE's Battlefield. Was Mass Effect 3 run on the Frostbite engine? No. Was 2? Nope. Was 1? Nope. So this is an all-new engine that this team had to work for and design a third-person game around. And there's a lot of mechanics involved. You need to cut them a little slack, people. I mean, at least that much, as far as I'm concerned. It's just absolutely asinine. And some people had a problem with the stiff animations and the facial expressions and all this other stuff. There is a little bit of problem there, but it's really not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal, people. Okay? It's just not. The only thing that I have a problem with is some of the conveying of emotion in the game. I'm not going to spoil this one part, with that pertains to your character. But let's just say that a death's involved and the people around you seem more emotional than your character. But some of the contextual some of the contextual things shows that maybe you weren't that close to this person to begin with in some of the conversation choices. You could choose otherwise, but some of that emotion, I think, is lost a little bit. Another thing I really like is this right here. The ability to scan stuff is awesome. It kind of reminds me of No Man's Sky Scanner, but even going back further, Metroid Prime on the GameCube. My God, what a great series. And how you could scan stuff and learn about your world and environments. You could scan plants, different things. Not everything, but the things that you can contextually scan is really cool and gives you information. This is just one of those things where I found myself, just like Metroid Prime, just scanning the shit out of everything. Because it's fun. It's fun to do that. And again, that's part of the exploration aspects of this game. Like I said, the UI is a little weird, especially if you want to go to your journal. this shows you like that's my next priority ops. Right there is your main mission, and this is like I can look up, missing arcs. That's another side thing. Helios, first murderer. You got to talk to this guy. It's a prison guard. If you want to, again, a side thing. And if let's say I make that and then toggle tracked and then go out, it does change where I'm supposed to go. I think some people, for some reason, didn't understand that and was like, I don't understand why. It only pretty much lets you track one thing at a time. And that's just the way the game is set up. Which I think I'm okay with that. I just am. I'm totally okay with that. I'm just right now just walking around exploring stuff. Here's a sidearm I can examine.
His first sidearm, a memento of his early Alliance service.
I bet that saw plenty of action.
Alex's first kill occurred in combat during the First Contact War.
Archives just
crazy times.
The voice acting is actually pretty good, by the way, too. I really enjoy it. And the robotic voice you heard that was male is named Sam, and it's this AI kind of thing that you're like, it's kind of a part of you and inside of you and whatnot. And it's interesting because his voice is kind of like, reminds me a little bit of like Jarvis combined with like, an android like from like the Alien series. And it's a really cool thing to actually have them on there. And Mass Effect is, they've done a good job on this. My next part is supposed to get to my ship where I can go out and start exploring and whatnot. And this is kind of the story kind of thing that I'm doing right now. The combat system is superb. It's got a soft cover system, the ability to hover in air. You can jet forward with these jump jets and stuff. It's really, really fun. It's just cool as shit. And absolutely a blast. The combat is just excellent. You even still have like your melee attack that creates like that holographic like knife. Unlike Mass Effect, which it seemed like it had a charge for a second or two, and then you could hit and you missed a whole lot with it. This is an instantaneous thing, so that's definitely improved, and I really dig that.
Hello, Ryder. Welcome back to Sam Road. I've adjusted my connection to your implant.
I did turn the volume down so y'all could hear my voice.
Yeah, what was that about? You said we need to discuss something confidential.
You should know certain facts before you.
So another thing too that I wanna talk about is, besides that whole EA BioWare thing too, where I just kind of explained this is not the same company, and that's really the truth. It's not. It's not the same company, people. And I just gonna explain that. Another thing, when people said the creative player is limited, I do have a theory about this. I could be very wrong about this. When I talked to the GameStop employee today, this guy named Ben, and kind of shot that out that way, he was like, yeah, that actually kind of makes sense. I think the issue is, since 2007, and 5 years later, playing through the Mass Effect trilogy and playing our Shepard. Shepard's an iconic character. Now, Fem Shep and Male Shep on the covers, that's their version of Shep, even though we could make him look like whatever we want, he or she. But I think they went this route with the game, with the creative player, and changed it up somewhat because, A, it's a new engine, but B, I don't think they wanted us to make Shepard. Like, let's make our Shepard again. If they give us the exact same creative player, right, customizer, I think most of us would just make Shepard. I know he's not named Shepard. His name's Ryder. Everyone refers to as Ryder. But I think people would have done that. And I think they're trying to get away from that series. Now, I also had some people, I also had some people think, well, that does kind of make sense, but why would they care? I'm like, because they're trying to forge a new game series with this Andromeda thing. We might get a trilogy of games that lets us play Ryder and Andromeda 2 and Andromeda 3 or whatever. I hope they go that route because it's such a good mechanic of being able to carry your character save over. So I believe that's what happened with the creative player. They just didn't want us making our Shepard again. I really feel like that was probably why it was discussed as such, because I can make my wizard that I played in in Mass Effect 2. Dragon Age 2. I basically recreated him in Dragon Age Inquisition. Like, literally, it's the same character. And because even though the creative player customizer was much more in depth, I still created my character Warpseer. I mean, I can't, they never made the game designed to carry over saves, but I did do that. And so I think they didn't want us creating, they didn't want us creating our Shepherd again. They wanted us to get away from that. Shepherd story's over with. Now, I've had some people also, there's some reviews out there that made these detractors saying, well, between Mass Effect 2 and when they leave Earth, it's between Mass Effect 2 and 3, but they never mentioned the Andromeda Initiative in Mass Effect 2 or even 3. They never mentioned that people left the planet during the whole Reaper invasion. Here's the thing about that. Again, different writers, different company, different people working on this. You got to remember that I don't think they ever planned on doing when they made Mass Effect 2. Yes, they planned a trilogy games, but they never thought far enough ahead that they were going to make another Mass Effect, let alone that takes place all this time afterwards. Plus, that's only at the beginning, because by the time you wake up in the game, it's 600 years later. 600 years have passed. That shit with the Reapers is already done and over with. Now, again, people might say, well, wait a minute. The Reapers wipe out, galactic civilization every 50,000 years. Okay, they didn't say anything about wiping out the entire universe. There's hundreds of thousands of galaxies. They just said galaxy, meaning singular. So they seem to only be bothering with the Milky Way because it's the only place where the Citadel was. Everything else is speculation. I don't give a fuck what Wiki fandom says or any of this other things. It's just that's the case. That's a self-contained story. And besides, you're too busy with Shepard and all the shit going on to even... Why would they... They're not even worried about the freaking Andromeda stuff. Shepard's story is so self-contained. This is a much more open-ended thing. So... And that's just the way it is with Andromeda.
Your father felt it was for the best.
What was he trying to hide?
My true capabilities. Alec overrode the implant safety protocols. It allows me unrestricted access to the Pathfinder's physiology.
And that's me now.
And only you. I can act as a force multiplier, dramatically enhancing your motor and neural skills when required. Alec called them profiles. They provide unique tactical augmentation
Beer in the throat?
in combat. Your father preferred to keep this fact to himself.
I can understand. People might get the wrong idea. Super soldiers. A computer having control over a human.
Providing an enhancement to the human. It is a symbiotic relationship that benefits both.
What do you get out of it?
Though I'm artificial in design, I am fully sentient, far beyond what even the initiative understands.
I don't follow. You're an AI. So what's different?
I am a new form of AI, drawing directly from the human experience. Your implant is my window into the world.
That's pretty amazing.
But beyond what many people will accept, your father knew some would fear it.
Yeah, he's got a point. So what does this mean for the two of us?
I find myself in an unusual position. Though I have access to your father's experiences, there is a gap in my understanding.
How so?
He placed a block on portions of my memory array.
Why?
Perhaps so when you ask me what his plan was, I wouldn't know.
And Dad...
Sorry, I'm just watching the story.
Without recourse. The further you explore as a Pathfinder, the more blocks will be removed. Perhaps you should begin in your father's quarters. In the meantime, unless you have more questions, your new ship awaits.
Thanks.
This is, I guess, where you get to pick, like, your Pathfinder profile. These are basically like the old classes from Mass Effect. Soldier, Engineer, Adept, Sentinel, Vanguard, Explorer. I'm going to pretty much go with the Soldier because I like playing soldiers. And that's just really the truth of the matter. Apparently it's locked. I can't do shit about it. Oh well. I guess I have to wait, and I guess I got to just be a Sentinel. That's fine. That kind of sucks. I wish they would let you go ahead and pick those classes, but oh well. It is what it is. Time to go. This is where I get to go to my ship, so that's pretty neat. I dig it. I really dig it. It's cool so far. Whoops, I think I've been here. It's a memory trigger thing. Whatever I'm supposed to do with that.
What was that?
An eidetic trigger related to your father and the portions of my
The coffee machine Mom got for Dad. He was so busy designing you, needed the caffeine.
I did not realize I owed my existence to a being.
And now you know what humility feels like.
That's pretty neat. Dig it. But like I was saying, this game is actually really good. What I played so far, honestly, it's just really cool. Like I have been enjoying the whole beginning opening was great. The music was incredible and right and set the tone for the entire game. You do get to meet the enemy that you fight later on, the cat, right off the bat, and you don't really know why they're just so hostile, but they are. And just like every other good crazy science fiction thing, the hey man, he does something with good intentions, and right away it just gets all fucking foobarred right off the bat. So it's actually a really it's really cool, but typical for most science fiction games. And again, some of my thoughts is I believe that it's totally worth the money picking up, because if you're a fan of Mass Effect, it still has that Mass Effect feel, regardless if there's a different writer and different designers that work over at EA BioWare. Remember, it's not BioWare, it's Electronic Arts. BioWare is the name of the roleplay division. Just keep that in mind. People who are getting these negativity about it, it's BioWare. No, it's not. It's Electronic Arts. Deal with it. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with this. I'll bring you some more gameplay as soon as I get a little bit further into the game and explore all of its systems a little bit more, including like the driving around on this new Mako-like thing and exploring the different planets and all the other stuff that comes with it, to give you a more definitive thought on the game. And I want you to, and please remember to subscribe to my channel, tell your friends about it. Thank you for joining me and pulling up a seat at the gaming roundtable. I am the Juice Man. Remember, the man that tells you the way it is. And as always, gamers, good gaming.